SNEHA that you have been able to successfully do that. You have a dedicated communications team. Even on specific projects, you have documentation officers like who are working on documenting the impact and recording stories. Could you share your experience of how have you been able to incorporate storytelling in your work at SNEHA?
You know, most NGOs document stories about beneficiaries. Why don't you do it about your staff? So we decided, we picked up, we thought initially we'll do 20-25% of our staff. We were that time about 300 staff. Finally, we covered about 65% because the stories were so amazing. And that's when I realized that if you have to do stories, you don't need a lot of money to start with. Yeah? There are so many different ways of being able to document. From our perspective, the reason we have so many people documenting stories, so every one of our frontline workers is expected to document one story every week. Yeah? Now, of course, then we have this huge bank of stories, but the most of them are so long and verbose that I remember once I saw a story by Plan International that was like, I think, 8 or 10 lines, so impactful. And then we've always been trying to figure out how do we write stories in an impactful way. So we ask them to cull these stories out, and then what we do is we have the documentation people who, in addition to documenting, and all of us who are in NGOs know how much of documentation donors expect today, right? So we have these people who are documenting the work, but also then culling out the most impactful stories, and they then get trained for how to communicate stories effectively.